Okay, let's jump right in, and while this loads for an ungodly amount of time again, I will see if I can remember what I was doing last time. I do remember quite clearly that last time we were trying to get the solar thing going, but because I was spending most of the game faffing about with other minor tasks, we didn't get to do that. I remember there was a power problem that we solved by waiting for the natural gas to come in, and I think that was pretty much it. I do clearly remember that we have completed a bunker for the solar array. We just didn't activate the solar array because there is still a bunch of crap on top, but we did start playing with the auto miner. So I guess the focus is going to be finishing that, getting some solar power. And hopefully the game will not crash. I was also thinking about the channel in general and what I'm gonna be doing in the future, because originally my idea was that I would have Oni as the main game and that I would play a different game on not Saturdays, on Wednesdays, and then over time as I got more time to do streaming, I would just make more stream days. Generally, that's still a good plan. But when it comes to Oni, there is not much more I have to show, and there are dedicated Oni streamers that are better than me and more diverse than me, and they can also play this better than I can. So with that in mind, I think that the end result is going to be that I'm going to be not a one type of streamer to begin with, but I'm going to be a variety streamer. Meaning that I'm just gonna be rotating games as I can get as much as I can out of them and then moving on. I think that will be the best way to do it. Ooh, overheat damage. Great! Maybe I shouldn't send dupes to dig while there's stuff falling from the sky. Dupes, don't die. We will copy all of these settings. Ooh. Don't die, dupes. Dupes, don't die. Now this is suffering from overheat damage. But I think that overheat damage is mostly caused by meteors falling. So here's the thing, let's just deconstruct these things. I'm gonna also make some steel. We're gonna be moving that digger around anyway. Actually, maybe I already made some steel. Did I make some steel? I don't remember if I line up any steel to be made, refined metal. That's manufactured material. Yes, I do have some steel. Perfect. Steel won't overheat, but I don't know if I can make this out of steel. Don't die, dupes. I have faith in your luck. Whew. So we will be focusing on this area because we do want to finish this once and for all. Okay, so there is some minor stuff here, and we'll just tell them to collect this. This is just what was deposited from the things falling above brought with them, and then we'll continue with the owner miner. I don't think I have to worry about anything else in the base, so let them do that. Uh, stress is fine, food is fine, although we did spend 100,000 calories, which is still fine. I'm not worried yet. But if this gets to like 205, 2500, 1,000. I might need to intervene. And by intervene, I just gonna line up more food. This also isn't growing, so I'll probably just replace this with mushrooms. Although, I might need to move this entire thing somewhere else. Now this is 5 degrees over target temperature, which is a problem. Now this problem is happening because of the heat coming from here. I believe I've mentioned that this is a thermal problem. Well, that's now affecting the rest of the base. And these things can no longer keep up. Unfortunately. So I think we'll have to move our food production to somewhere else. Probably around here. Because the temperature around here is in the low 30s, I believe. Oh, it actually goes to high 30s. We could move it here. Generally, all I actually really need to do is just block off the temperature that's coming in. And that just means putting a Weesworth here, and because the heat is coming in from the hot CO2 that's being pumped in. So this is what we'll do. We will deconstruct this one, and we will close it off, and we'll put the Weesworts on the inside. That should drop the temperature down, and that should allow this thing to work again. If we could cool off the water here, this would be working again as well. Well, thing is, I can cool the water, I'm just not doing that. The water inside here is quite well, it's 30, but when it goes out of there, then it starts to be a problem. We could use this water instead, but this is a finite source of water. I could pump some cool water in. I'll see. Okay, are you guys done cleaning up? You are, perfect. So while they're sleeping, let's decide on the next step. Where's the auto miner? Shipping, excellent. So we want again to put it here. And we're making it out of steel. Okay, stop lagging. We're gonna make a ladder. Actually, here. Now, next step, we need to make collectors for all of this junk. Show, shipping. Auto sweeper. Also make it out of steel so it doesn't overheat. And now this message is in my way. Here. For the time being, although we will need to make another one here. Okay. That seems to be fine. We will need to power it, of course. What's the... Okay, so we need to put the conveyor loader here. Should be close enough, I think. Uh, and we're also gonna make it out of steel. Because why not? We have steel. And we're gonna make the conveyor rail out of gold, because why not? There is some wire we can save here. Oh, more stuff falling from the sky. Let's hope it doesn't damage. I had to say something. We'll wait for that to pass before we make any repairs, because there's no point. It doesn't seem to be damaging the rail though. Woo! You dodged that barely. Okay. Oh yeah, we also have to make the actual stuff that will feed the thing out of the conveyor receptacle, yes, that. And we'll put that over here. And we will need another sweeper. What's that? Here. Does it need to be this high? Well, I'm gonna put it this high just for combat. Oh, I'm guessing that the pinch row has an egg. The pinch row does have an egg. Sweep that as soon as you can. Perfect, thank you. And let's make some omelets. I think we have pufflet eggs, we have pip eggs. Let's see how the pip situation is fine. We can break the pip eggs. We can also... We have plenty of hatchling eggs, so we can break those. Also, we have enough pinch rows for now, so we can break that. 6 out of 6, 5 out of 6, and 4 out of 6. So we do want incubate at least one egg. Okay, this is now closed off. Perfect. We didn't break anything, which is even more important. And now we're gonna put this and this, and we will drop the temperature with a wheeze worth inside. And that should make all of this work again. At least some of it. It won't really help with this, because the temperature risen here is the fault of the water being too hot. The CO2 levels here seem to be dropping as well, which is great. We do have 6 tons of coal. We also have plenty of hydrogen and plenty of natural gas to keep us going for a while, so we can ignore that situation for the time being. Did death stop falling from the sky? Death has stopped falling from the sky. But it brought along more junk to clean. And broken something as well, but that's to be expected, really. So every time that asteroids fall, they bring this junk down. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there is some stuff to be made. I mean, this stuff is obviously food for certain critters, but I think there is also something to be made out of it. Or at least used for something. I know it's a filtration material, but I don't know if it's used for anything else. I haven't really played with that. Is this actually in the... Is this close enough to be built? 1, 2, 3, 4. It is. It should be something that they can actually build. They will need to, of course, wire it up. But we are now again. The most time we seem to be losing is losing on them cleaning up the stuff that is brought down by meteors. And that's gonna keep happening, unfortunately. Only the big ones bring this much crap with them, so a couple of major strikes happened here. The smaller stuff just brings the refined metals. which is fine. I do want to see this working, so I hope that we can get this thing done. I never told them that I want this to be wired up. Anybody that's not doing anything on the base, come up here. Uh, we have printables, dirt, why not? I do think I'll have to do some food. Oh, we can do pepper bread. One. Well, let's do a couple of these. Why not? Entombment, that's this, yeah. Oof. I think. Oof. This one is no longer necessary. We can deconstruct this one. Scalding from what? Ooh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, so this floor is now 200 degrees. The fault lies on these things. So whenever a meteor strikes, it does that. I might actually just consider leaving those things here. Or making a similar system but over here where I can have the auto sweepers work for that. So setting up a network of auto miners and sweepers. Now I'm regretting actually removing those auto sweepers. Now I remember why I told it to... Yeah, I can't. I remember why I left that one, so I can copy the settings from. Now I have to do this all over again. I don't play the game for a week and then I forget everything I've done. So we need a regolith. We need regolith to be in there. We also need metal ores to be in there. So copper, gold, iron, wolf. No need for wolframite. Wolframite doesn't fall from the sky. And we need refined materials to be stored there. So iron and lead in this case. Any raw minerals? Mafic rock. There we go. That should do the trick. I think... I'm fighting with myself really because there might be actual need to make a second set of bunker doors here, or at least make bunker walls while I'm trying to clean this place up. But essentially it's a fight against nature. What we're doing here is a fight against nature in its purest sense. So the universe is literally trying to stomp me while I'm trying to clean this place up. And I hate the universe for doing that to me. Literally. And of course this isn't powered. Here they go again. Yep, I think we will have to make a bunker here for at least while we're working on this. Oof, more stuff dropping from the sky. Now the nice thing is this is bringing us virtually unlimited supply of iron and other metals, but at the same time it's annoying. So while they are doing that, let me talk about what I was planning. So originally when I started streaming, when I got an idea that I would get into this whole streaming scenario, and to make it absolutely clear, I'm streaming because I enjoy it. I enjoy gaming and I enjoy streaming, as it turns out. I didn't know if that was gonna be the case when I started, but it turns out to be the case, and I'm happy about it. Is this unreachable? No, it's not unreachable. As a result of that, because I love Oni so much, I figured I would have one main game that I would be playing every Sunday, regardless of anything else, and then eventually I would be adding more stream days, like I did for Wednesday, and put other games there. And originally I liked that idea. So what changed? Well, as I've been doing the hard space shipbreaker, it occurred to me that after a certain point playing a certain game, you run out of things to show people, or at least you run out of things to do differently. With this colony, which we did on Ideal Colony, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing Oni again in the future on different asteroid. Probably, more than likely, will have a season 2, so to speak, and that'll be on a different asteroid. But on this asteroid that we've been playing this game on, you have seen me doing pretty much all of the stuff that you can do in a single Oni game. We've played with both the basic and advanced food. We had diseases. We had uh, three types of power generation. We're doing the fourth one right now, and that one is the most time consuming, as well as setting up the whole going out into outer space, which is the most time consuming part of the entire game. And we've done all of that. So at this point, while I could just go on and do nothing but Oni for as long as I'm doing streaming, already on the stream that would go after this colony of Oni is completed, I would have nothing else effectively to show you. I mean, I could play with other designs, but they would not be necessarily all that different, and they wouldn't be doing necessarily all that much different things than we are doing right now. And how why I've made you out of lead. But I wouldn't be doing anything necessarily all that different, and differences between this colony and the next one would be just not there because I generally play this game in my own way, and there is only so much I can do differently between the two colonies. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't. Of course I would, but it's as I'm a fairly new streamer. Well, fairly new. I've been streaming for 2 months, so yeah, I'm a very new streamer. Uh, what I actually want to be doing is variety. I have so many things I want to play for everybody. And of course, I didn't mention this before, I probably should have. Every single stream is also uploaded to YouTube for archiving purposes as well as because I wanted to. Uh, that's not connected? There is a gap in the cable. The long and short being that I want to do more. I want to stream more games. That's why I originally I didn't intend to have a second streaming day so early. I mean, I was on I don't know which stream when I decided that okay, we're doing streaming Wednesdays as well, and I picked Shipbreaker because I love Shipbreaker. Originally, I thought that it was going to take a longer time. I thought it was going to be much later because I didn't think that I would have the time, I would have the willpower, as well as that I would have the skills to do it. I didn't know how well streaming would work out for me. And I didn't want to invest a lot of time and effort and resources and then have nothing to show for it. But as it turns out, I can stream. I'm doing it. I'm fairly okay with it, I guess. I enjoy it. I'm not running out of things to talk about, although I do tend to ramble on a bit and then switch topics, apologies, unexpectedly. But I'm loving it. And as it turns out, I do wanna move on. I do wanna be a variety streamer. I wanna be a channel. I wanna be hosting a channel on which you could find a variety of subjects. So here's some of the stuff I'm planning to do in the future. I'm gonna be primarily doing strategy games, survival games, slow paced. I'm not gonna be doing multiplayer shooters. There's just no point. That's first of all, I don't have the skills to be interesting enough. Second of all, most of the common modern multiplayer shooters annoy me more than I find them enjoyable these days. Even though I still play them, I play Call of Duty Modern Warfare, for example, and I'm reasonably decent at it, but it is one of those games that just drives me bonkers because of mostly because of the programming aspect, but also because of the community and everything else. I do want my streams to be mostly single player games that either have the complex mechanics like Oni does, or they have an interesting gameplay mechanic like Heartspace Shipbreaker, or that they have story elements like Final Fantasy, which I will be. That was my very first stream, which I was for testing, and I didn't record it. But I want to be not tied down to a single game. If for nothing else, because that's the way I am. I'm always playing multiple games. Uh, just in general, I don't play a single game. I always have a rotation of at least 3 games for every given month in uh, in a year. And somebody was suffocating there, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm more than likely gonna be a variety streamer, meaning that I'm going to be streaming a lot of different games uh, as I see fit and when I see fit. Some of them will be new, some of them will be old because I want to play old games as well. Because I love old. I'm an old gamer. I'm not an ancient, but let's put it this way: when I started gaming, games were loaded on cassettes. That's how old I am. So my very first platform and was an Amstrad. Then I had a ZX Spectrum. Then I had a Commodore 64. I also had the NES and SNES, and I also had a Sega. I've played on pretty much every single platform that exists. There were some I loved. There were some platforms I hated. For example, I won't say I hated, but I never liked the Xbox platform. Not so much because of the platform itself, although the very first Xbox was a travesty. It was unstable. It was breaking. Doesn't mean I haven't played Xbox games. I still have played them. I just never owned an Xbox myself. I borrowed a few, and I had least a few, and I just never liked it. I never liked. I was never a fan of the games that were on Xbox. For the most part, they were already on PC as well, and as a PC was my primary platform. Why are you suffocating? You interrupt me while I talk. Please suffocate on your own time. And among other things that I wanna do for this channel is I wanna play old games, like really old, like 90s games. I almost want to play even old 80s games, but running those on a modern computer is, let's say, just say it's difficult. It's not impossible. You can emulate it in plenty ways, but it's a lot of work to get them running. I do that. I use emulators, and there are also new emerging platforms which are actually very good that offer the same service, and I will more than likely use those eventually. But I want to do that on the channel. So you will be seeing me. Oh, I will need more steel. Oh, this is made of steel. Oh, yeah, but this is really, really hot. Yeah, there's no way to prevent overheat for this. Uh, what I will be playing, among other things, were PlayStation 1 games. Emulated mostly for the most part, but that kind of thing. I do have enough refined carbon, I believe. Yes, I do. So I'm missing lime. Okay, so this is fine. Eggshells? We don't have any eggshells. Fossils? We have no fossils. We need to queue a dig job for fossils to make more steel. We have a queued up, they just can't reach that place. Here you go, now you can reach it. So that's my thought process. I am going to be playing old games, new games. I'm also going to be doing what I'm doing for my walkthroughs right now. On my YouTube channel, I'm also doing walkthroughs, not commentary walkthroughs, most of strategy games. And that's one of the things I will be doing. I will be playing old games, PlayStation 1 games, Sega games, those things, and I will be streaming those as well. Of course, I will stream those. I will be streaming those eventually. That's one of the plans. There are other plans I have for the channel. There are, of course, I want to make the channel fancier. I want to have make the fancy intro screens and standby screens, and I do all my own artwork, so I will be probably utilizing that. Then, if I ever reach that point of actually having enough people to do my own custom icons, then of course I will be making that as well. But that part, that's way the future, and that's a very big if, because while I stream for my own amusement, I have no idea whatsoever what will be eventual number of people who will actually be enjoying watching me. So that's something that we will be considering in the future, but that's a very long way away. That's something that we will consider when, if and when we get to such a point. That's something that I'm not even gonna entertain thinking about right now. Okay, so why is this thing not actually putting... Ah, because this thing doesn't have anything. Can you? You can't. Hmm. Can you reach that? You should be able to. Oh, you cannot, because this is flipped the wrong way. Sorry. Also, this thing probably doesn't go into you, is it? Yeah. I'm gonna put this closer and I'm gonna... Okay, so this auto miner can clean this up on its own. So we did make progress, yay! This is gonna be constantly overheating, but because it's made of steel, it actually has a decent amount of health. So it's not such a big deal. Anything else we want to do to beautify the base? Not really. I'm not gonna be queuing any dig jobs because first of all there are some queued but they didn't do it. Because I want them to spend all the digging time up top on the surface. We are collecting all of the oil here. And that was what we wanted to do to begin with. So I'm gonna dig this out as well. It's more polluted water dripping from all the ice melting. At this point I'm not even clearing it out because there's no point. There's some deodorizers here, so everything that goes up is just a clean oxygen. Oh yeah, we did this thing. So plant this. Oh crap, stop lagging. There we go. We're definitely running low on food, so we're no longer producing more food than we're eating. It is dropping, so I will have to do something about that shortly. Right now, this is probably the reason half of our mushrooms are even growing at the moment. Hopefully, this will at least deal with this thing. So this should drop the temperature a bit. 30 is the mark that we're going for. It's not even that much that it needs to drop for. It's this, it's the actual panel that's hot. Because of this. Because of this gas going in, which is hot. But gas retains temperature quite well. And we can't force auto bottling because we can't store bottles for unknown reasons. Clay, could you make this actually something that we can stock? This would be nice. And this looks fine. I'm gonna have to turn on the hydrogen power soon. Everything else looks nominal. That's the thing. When you set up the base nicely, you can pretty much ignore everything else happening in it. It'll run its own. Conveyor receptacle, whatever the word is, I can't speak. I'm retarded. And yeah, let's make it out of gold. Why not? We have plenty of gold. And I'm gonna put this on a 9 so this thing can start moving again. Oh, this thing got buried again. So we're gonna line that dig job. It's almost faster to do it by hand because of all the faffing I'm doing about. Now, to be clear, this would be 100 times faster if it was constantly being wrecked by things falling from the sky. But it is, so it is. Okay, I'm just checking what else that needs to be done here. Yeah, if we're making another solar bank on the other side, we'll have a drastically different approach. I'm gonna have a different approach for the one on the right side. I don't know why I keep making things more difficult for myself. I could have just set up all of this first and then decide to dig it up. But no, I went for the tougher approach. Well, sucks to be me. So if I was a smart person as opposed to a stupid one, I would have done this setup while this is still dug in. And then once this setup is completed, then I would set up an auto miner and make it dig, because then this would matter. But I didn't do that. So now we're doing it a slower way. And that's why it took 3 streams to get to this point instead of 1. Although, as I said, the setting up of the space exploration thing is the most time consuming thing in the game. That's what you will be doing the most. Everything else took pretty much a stream or stream and a half to set up. We have more water here, but that one is most time consuming. Now I am strongly of the belief that I will need to set up a cooler for my water, and when we do the when we eventually return one beautiful day, Slichter Larva. When we decide to one beautiful day return to the world of Oni, when I'm done with it for this first set of streams, when we do it for season 2, if there's a season 2, there probably will be, uh, there we go, temperature fine, we can remove this. When we return, I'm going to make a few things differently. And that's another beautiful thing with Oni. It doesn't matter how many colonies you set up. It doesn't matter how many times you start one. That doesn't matter how many ideas you have. Next, while you're playing your current colony, you're gonna get 2 new more ideas or 3 new more ideas. And then you're gonna use those ideas in your next colony or in the one after that. You're always doing something, and that inspires you to try something else. That's one of the bits that is absolutely brilliant about this game. Like this setup here, this cooler, that's maybe fourth or fifth iteration of a cooler that I did from previous experiences. I tried to do just a passive cooler with temp shift plates, then I put something else inside, and I played with water cooling, then with gas cooling. The brilliance of this game is that you can do so much with what they've given you. You can invent so many things, and even the things you've invented, you can reinvent them. You can try them in a different order, in a different way. You can make everything in 100 different ways, and then while you're trying those 100 different ways, you're gonna get 200 new ideas. I don't know of any other game that does this, nor that does it this well. There are fancier games. There are games with better graphics. There are games with with better physics and with better, more complex ideas. But the beauty of Oni is that you can do complex ideas using simple mechanics. It doesn't take a long time to understand. It doesn't take a long time to figure out. And even if you are not completely familiar with the scientific terms the game uses, you can easily learn from the behaviors of the game, from what the game is telling you, from what the game is doing. It will give you a simple for example, it gives you a simple warning: the body temperature is not correct, and then you check and it says body temperature is outside of its desired range, and then you can check the overlay to see what's causing the heat, and then you can work your way around the problem if you even need to solve it. You can even ignore it, as I have been. I have been ignoring this problem for 2 streams now, if not 3. Uh, we had a problem with CO2. We found a way around it. every single problem you can approach in different ways. I'm not even that efficient. There are people who can make their bases 1,000 times more efficient than I can. But that's the beauty. You don't have to be. You can be as clumsy as you want playing this game, and you'll still be reasonably skilled at it. As long as you keep trying, long as you keep inventing, keep doing it. Can you name another game that does that? Honestly, can you name another game that's this versatile? I can think of some that come close. There's Factory Town, but Factory Town is not that user friendly and it gets convoluted real fast. Then there's I don't even know. Factorio is an obvious first choice that people would go to, but Factorio is a very different game. I would not bring comparison because the automation in Factorio is the base of the game. Automation in here is an option for you. It's simply, okay, you can have dupes do this, or you can automate a process in one of a gazillion ways. Also, in Factorio, you have to take a single approach. You can lay out your base to be more or less efficient in a different way, but it still requires you to do the things the same way. Here, you can lay it out as any way you'd like. You can even abuse, well, not abuse, but use certain aspects of the game to get a different result than originally intended. Again, that's not something many games can pull off. For most games, it would be an exploit to try to work out a different kind of mechanic. Here, and I'm going to deconstruct you just not to waste materials on repairs while we set the next batch up. In in other games, you would have to be exploiting something like this to exploiting on a mechanic in order to get ahead. Here, it's not exploiting. You're simply using the physical mechanics available in the game and trying to utilize them as best as you can. How well you can do that depends on your own imagination or how good you are at googling resources online and seeing what other people have done. But it's an endless approach. I don't even know how many colonies I've done thus far. I don't know if I'm going to just check. Yeah, this doesn't save all of them regularly, but there are some colonies here dating back last year, and some of them had only like a 10 to 15 cycles, and some of them had a lot more of them. And this is just yeah, it goes back to April 2019. Yeah, I've had the game for a lot longer than that, and it is every single. I didn't have two colonies per se. I always start the same way, so my center of my colony is always looks like this because I like to do it like this. Have a little. Like to have the dupes just above the printer, toilets to the right, to the left, on the same level so that they can go there. Then mess hall and kitchen right above that. So everything, and there are of course the recreational rooms where there is room to make them in for that. And it's all always like then the all of the farms on the other half, and then we have mushrooms somewhere lower, water storage, and so on and so forth. And I would usually make storage rooms wherever I feel like making them. But it's essentially how I like to make it. But then as you go out, you have to take different approach. You have to take different locations and subjugate them to your own plan. And that's marvelous because every single time your base will be different. You can start this game and then make a decision. I'm going to make the same base I did previously. You won't be able to do it. you'll make it close, but you won't be able to do it exactly as it was. So this one, I might as well do it here because the other ones are full. I might be singing too many praises to this game, but I will tell you this: I am not very picky when it comes to games. I like to try everything. Even games I'm not familiar with, I will give them a try. I like games. I've always loved them. I've played, like I said, I've played them for a long, long time. I've been part. I was one of the people who was born in just the right time, as the games were starting to become something more. I was part of that whole gaming revolution thing. I was also part when the gaming almost died in the 80s because of ET, the game. That's another story for another day. Actually, I might even tell you the story since we're just waiting for these guys to finish digging. But Oni is one of those games that you always come back to. There are games that I always come back to. Oni is one of them. So, oof. Well, this actually did a job, right? So yeah, we can actually remove that one. If you are a younger viewer or a younger gamer, you're pretty much born in an age where games are all over the place and they are very advanced. You know, you can argue about such silly things such as graphics, like which game has the best graphics and so forth. Do you actually realize that how much gaming has changed? Oh, steel, 100 kilograms. Yes, please. So, when I say changed, I don't just mean that the playstyles have changed, but the technology and the way that we look at games changed. It's now actually a form of media which is at the same level as the movie industry, even or the music industry. It's become a big business, which is also a problem because once you can earn a lot of money on something, it gets corrupt really easily, and it has. But you are spoiled for choice. There are both independent developers and bigwig developers, and the games are being made on a monthly, almost weekly basis at this point, and you can't really run out of them anymore. Just can't. If you take a break from gaming for a week and then you open up Steam or whichever is your DRM of choice, if you open GOG as I do, or if you open Origin or Battle.net, there'll be new games there. There'll be a new game, and it really depends on you as a player what type of game you want to play. It wasn't like that before. In the 80s, games were really rudimentary. They were really, really basic. It was some games you could pass within an hour. I remember, and also it was a much bigger pain to actually play them. For example, when I was late 80s, early 90s, I think it was 1991 or 1992, I can't remember clearly. Back then I had a Commodore 64. To get a game running, on a Commodore 64, you first had to get to the page, well, get to the screen from which you could actually load the game. So you started on a green screen, which only had the pointer and the name of the computer that you were running. And then you had to make the game tell you, or you had to tell the machine that you want to go to load a game. So to do that, you would type in load, comma, no, hold on, load, yeah, load, open quotation, dollar sign, another close quotation, uh, comma, 8, and you press enter. That would bring you to the blue screen, and on the blue screen you would tell this machine now that you would like to go to the disk. Let's just I can't talk and explain. I mean I can't do the things at once because I'm not that good. Just give me one moment to line this up and I will tell you more. What am I making out of lead? No, we will be not making out of lead. We have steel, we'll make it out of steel. And perfect. So and then when you got to the blue screen, you would tell the machine that you want to go to where the disk is so that you can load something from it. To do that, you would again type load, open quotation mark, dollar sign, open quotation mark, comma, 8, enter. Then you would type in list. And between those two things, you would have to wait about 3 minutes for the computer actually to process what you're telling it to do. When you type in list, you get a list of everything that's on the floppy disk that you put in, or a cassette that you put in into the machine. And then you wait for it to read it, which could take 5 to 10 minutes. Then after you list all the things that are on the floppy, you have to find which of those files will run the game. Then you type in load, open quotation mark, name of the file, close quotation mark, comma, 8, press enter, and then the game will start loading, which took half an hour. I'm not being facetious here. It took 30 to 45 minutes for that floppy to be read, depending on the game. If the game was smaller, it took 10 minutes. If the game was the first Ultima game, the first Ultima game took 48 minutes for me to load. I still remember it because I was timing it. The game called Blue Max took 30 something minutes to load. Alley Cat took 20 minutes to load. It was upwards of 10 minutes to get the game loaded, depending on how big it is. And then you would play the game until you were done with it, and then there was no, for some of the games, there was no exit or escape. You had to reset the computer if you wanted to go back and load a different game, and then you have to do everything all over again. That was my very first Commodore 64. These days, you click install, you wait, depending on how the big game is, 5-10 minutes for it to install once, and then you run it, and it runs after 5 seconds flat each time. That's that's a luxury for what it was like back then. I again deconstructed this without thinking ahead. And now I have to do this again. I will smack myself with something. Metal ore, copper, gold, iron, those things are falling from the sky. Miscellaneous, nothing here. Refined metal, iron and lead, raw minerals.